Hey guys, it's me Daily and welcome back. For today's video, I'm going to be doing my long-awaited November wrap-up. I only finished 3 books in the month of November, which is sad, but true. And I already added one of these into last month's wrap-up, but I actually ended up finishing it in November. So let's start with that one, because even though I added it, I want to feel better about myself. So the first one I finished this month is Clown in a Cornfield by Adam Cesar, and this book was really fun. I rated it a 4 out of 5 stars because I just really fell in love with the storyline. I did not really care for the characters, honestly, but I felt so shocked by everything going on. The action came out of nowhere and it was great. So Quinn Maybrook and her father moved to Kettle Springs after her mother's sad death. When she's there, the first 100 pages are meeting all the characters, going to school with her, and getting to know the town people. It's a small town, so there's not too many people to learn about. The rest of the story is just full on action and thriller. It's so much gore and so much, bloody stuff going on. It's crazy. And there's a bunch of different little twists, sometimes big twists. It was crazy. I absolutely loved how fast-paced it was towards the end, and it was just so great. But for some reason, there were some of the things in the book I didn't really enjoy. I can't really say a whole lot, but first of all, of course, I did not connect with any of the characters. All I really cared for was, where's the plot going? What's going on here? But overall, it was a pretty good book, 4 out of 5 stars. It was great. If you want to see a little bit more reaction from me, it's more raw than this one is, you can check out my last month's wrap-up because I kind of talk about this one as well. The next book I ended up finishing is another one that's in one of my videos. It is a weekly reading vlog, so if you want to check that out, it'll be right up here in the corner if you want to see that. But that is To All the Boys I Loved Before by Jenny Han. Now this is a reread for me. I have read this before about 2 years ago, and I absolutely fell in love with it. Over time, I just forgot where that love for this book came from, and then I reread it, and then I was like, whoa, I get it now. I remember. I absolutely fell in love all over again with this book. I just absolutely adore Jenny Han and how she wrote this book, and I loved all the characters. In the beginning, I did really want Josh and Lara Jean to be a couple. I don't know why. I will get into more of that in a little bit, but this book, if you don't already know, has a movie adaptation here on Netflix, and they have the first 2 movies out, and the third book cover, movie book cover, was released so recently, and I'm gonna put a photo up on the screen right here so you can see what it looks like. It's gorgeous. I love it. I'm so excited to have it. I'm pretty sure it releases on the 12th or 17th of December this month. I'm so excited. This book was phenomenal. I fell in love with it. It is a contemporary romance. So Lara Jean, her mother sadly passed away, and her mother gave her this teal hat box, and she writes letters to her crushes and puts them away in this hat box only for her to read, just to look back on. And one day all these letters get sent to all the people in the letters, so she goes on this crazy journey, and she ends up fake dating Peter Kavinsky, the most popular guy in school, just to get out of awkward situations, and just the story takes off from there. It's amazing. This book is definitely way better than the movie, and there were some parts in here that I wish they would have put in the movie, but they didn't, which is okay, but I feel like it might have added just a little bit more touch to the movie if they added that. This is probably the most I've ever tapped a book, so I'm really proud of myself, and I just fell in love with it. I was reading until 4 a.m. with this book because I was just so invested in the story. I read it in 3 days, which is really good for me, and I just absolutely adore it. Also, with Josh and Lara Jean, I really wanted them to be a couple for a while in this book, but at the same time, the only reason I did that is because I've heard so many things going around about Peter Kavinsky, or the guy who plays Peter Kavinsky, so Noah Centineo, and I've heard he's not a very nice guy. And so I kept picturing Noah Centineo as Peter Kavinsky in the book, and I just didn't like it. But I ended up getting over that, and I really just loved Lara Jean and Peter Kavinsky all together, and I just fell in love with them as a couple. If you're looking for a fluffy, cute, contemporary romance that has a little bit of drama, but not crazy drama, it's fantastic. I loved it so much. And the final book I ended up reading in the month of November is The Memory Book by Laura Avery. I ended up trying to do a 24-hour readathon and it didn't go as planned, so I ended up stopping it halfway through. I ended up falling asleep for like a good 7 hours, so it wasn't worth the time anymore. In that readathon though, I did get about halfway through the book and I was so proud of myself and I was so ready to finish it, and then I kind of took a break for a couple days and I went back to it and I finished it. It was a really good book overall, and I ended up rating it a 4 to 5 stars. I overall really loved the storyline and the fact that this book is the main character talking to you. So Sammy has been diagnosed with a really rare genetic disorder that is going to cause her to slowly lose her memory, and then she's going to slowly also lose her health. So it's a really meaningful book overall. And I really liked that concept. I haven't read a lot of books based off of, you know, health-wise, so it was a really interesting story overall. And I really did like Sammy as a character, and I kind of, you know, felt bad for her because some of her friends were not very nice to her and it just made me mad. It made me really mad. So I didn't really like one of the characters' decisions and it just made me really mad at them, and I ended up hating them for a while and then I kind of got over it. But overall, I really loved Sammy as a character, and Stuart, back off. I don't know what it was about him that just made me hate him so much, but I did not like him, and I'm okay with that because I don't think I was supposed to anyway. I mean, I could have, but I ended up falling in love with Cooper, honestly. I loved Cooper overall. And fun fact, guys, this author actually lives in Minneapolis, Minnesota, which is not that far from where I live, because I did not like Stuart. Like, I feel like this book was meant for me, you know? There was SpongeBob references in this book, which was crazy because obviously, if you can't tell, I really like SpongeBob. And it was so crazy. I was like reading and I was like, there's SpongeBob in here. Like, what the heck? I've never read a book that's a contemporary or just a book in general. If it's not SpongeBob based, I never heard anyone talk about SpongeBob in a book. And there was a lot of Minnesota references. It was so cool to see that. And I don't have a lot of books on my shelves that are based in Minnesota, so it was really cool to see that, and I really liked that there were so many similarities between the book and I on certain levels. Like I said, I didn't really like Stuart and I didn't like one of her friends, so I did have to, you know, kind of make that ultimate decision. Is it a 5 out of 5 or a 4 out of 5? And I did cry, but I thought overall it wasn't life-changing, but it was really meaningful to me, and I did really like it. Although I felt like it wouldn't stick with me for that long, even though I did feel emotions reading it. So yeah, I ended up giving it a 4 to 5 stars. So yeah, if you're looking for a sad book, but it's also really meaningful, and it kind of just taught me, live life to the fullest. Don't live a half glass full, or whatever you call it. Live a glass fully. Anyway, this book was so meaningful, and it was a tearjerker. It was so sad. But at the same time, I really did like love it. It was great, and I did tab it. I ended up losing my purple tabs, which was sad, so I ended up going with blue and purple. Anyway, it was a really good book, and I definitely recommend it if you live in Minnesota and you're looking for a book based in Minnesota. It's not like a huge Minnesota thing, but it's in there. So if you're looking for something to make you cry that you can kind of relate to if you live in Minnesota or you love SpongeBob, go for this one. Again, there's not like a ton of references to SpongeBob or Minnesota, but it's in there and it's nice. And the final like couple of books I ended up starting in the month of November was These Violent Delights, which I'm not done with yet, so I will be including that most likely in my December TBR, or my December wrap-up. I was also currently reading the Bible, and I still am, because that book, you know, Bible pages are very thin, so you can't get through it too fast, and I want to take my time with that. So those are the other books I've been currently reading that I haven't finished yet. I ended up finishing 3 books in the month of November, and although it's only 3 books, I think they were exceptional. I was so pleased by every book here in my hand, and even though it's only 3 and it doesn't seem like a ton, I absolutely fell in love with each of these stories individually. It was really fun month of reading. Of course, I did wish I read more, but it's okay. I'm happy with the amount of joy and sadness and just shock I've gotten from these books. So yeah, all of these were great, and I recommend every single one of them. So thank you for watching today's video, and I will see you next Monday or Wednesday on my channel. Bye!